So tragedy has struck, and I am no longer 31, but I am now 32, and I've never had a boyfriend or dated. So I'm listing my friends to mentor me and teach me about all the world of dating. And so far, it's going well, but still haven't really been on many dates. And I blame that on the timing. It's, the holiday season. And I always forget to say, but yes, this is Flirt Fail, and I am Sid. So today we have Rachel and Jaime. We have Rachel, who I have known since I was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go way back.
We were like the only two blondes at our high school. Basically, everyone would be like, oh, the blonde one? They'd be like, Rachel? No, Sid, the other one. It was always like that. And then obviously met Jaime through Rachel. And they just got engaged, over the summer?
We've been engaged for a while. We got engaged last August.
Was it that? It was last August?
Mhm.
You guys went to Scotland?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
Time is like an illusion these days, I swear.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds crazy. But Jaime was forced to become my friend because, we all took a trip to the Philippines for another friend's wedding.
Great trip.
And I was basically their third wheel on that trip everywhere. And we had a good time. He told me I was a 9 out of 10 travel buddy. And the only reason I didn't get 10 out of 10 was because I can sleep everywhere at any time. And he was jealous.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Yeah, we'd be like
Not
at a
gonna
hot
lie.
airport. I'd just be like, clonked out. So, okay, so we're going to skip, on the rapid fire questions, the relationship status, because obviously I already told you they are engaged, which, yay. And we'll go straight to, are you typically in all your history, a fall fast or a slow burn in relationships?
I think previously I've been fall fast and experienced like burnout from that.
Mm-hmm.
But this relationship was different. It was a fall fast, but there was something keeping it longer. Like it was a slow burn ultimately. And that was different for me. And I learned that that's like what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've also been a fall fast, honestly. And with her, I learned patience more than anything. I think if anything, you were the one that kind of put that pause on us and gave it a good rhythm. Just because, prior to her, within like 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I want to be in a relationship with this girl. I want to jump into it right away. With her, it was more steady. It was easygoing.
I would not have thought you were a fall fast type of guy because you're so
I'm a hopeless romantic. Yeah,
I can see that, but you're so level headed. I feel like about everything, you want to know all the details of something and plan and very you're always on time. Yeah. Okay, next question. Because there's always all the fun sayings. Would you say opposites attract or birds of a feather flock together?
It depends on the person. I feel like I'm a super adaptable person. So for me, I can connect with someone who has a lot of similar interests, but also the opposite of that. We're very different, I feel like. But we do have similar tendencies. He's also very adaptable. So when we're
in
some
certain
ways.
areas, yeah.
But I feel like when it's connecting with another person, it's easy for us to do that. And so I think it could be both. It depends on the relationship, the nature of the relationship.
You agree?
I do. I mean, there's a balance to everything. I think a little bit of or too much of anything is bad. For example, in our jobs, we are constantly every 6 months, depends on the crew, we're constantly having to work with new people and having to adapt to their working styles, their personalities, all that stuff. So in that sense, that makes us adaptable. But when it comes to relationships, there's certain things that I like to control and there's certain things that I can just let it be and see how it, how it grows from there.
Yeah.
So you guys think you're a mix of
Yeah.
Initially, did you feel like you're oh my god, he's so different than me, or or were you oh, she's so much like me?
I will say when it comes to her family and her upbringing, we were very similar.
I think that's the big
that was
one.
huge for us.
For dating, you could have completely different hobbies or even lifestyles, but values is the one thing that if you don't have similar values, one day it'll catch up to your relationship. and kind of break it apart from within. So that's the first thing that you have to recognize. And it's always kind of subconscious. Like you don't really think about that when you're newly dating someone.
Okay, wait. So I'll stop you there because I have been, and I wanted to get into this like later on. So I'm glad you brought it up because that is something as I've been swiping, I've been kind of thinking of, but not to cut you off. But I was like, you're like, people don't think about that. And I'm like,
it's hard to see on a surface level, like a dating app, I think. The values of someone are really like what you see when they experience conflict or like literally their relationship with their family. Even if it is bad, how do they deal with it?
Yeah.
And those are important things because ultimately you're trying to find a partner to live with. And if you have kids with that person and your values don't align, it's going to be the end
turmoil.
Of that. Yeah. So
my mom always said, like, you should always, which I know this like conflicts with a lot of people's viewpoints, but like live with someone, travel with them.
Yes. Huge.
And I'm trying to think of the third one. Oh, hook up, but
have sex. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what did my mom say? Oh yeah, have sex. I'm like, that's weird that I'm saying that out loud.
Thanks, Mom.
But, thanks, Kim. Yeah, but like because you see like traveling, someone's 100% out of their element.
Yes.
And seeing how they respond to like, you're gonna miss a train, your flights are gonna get delayed, and you're just like at your kind of like, you're not sleeping well and everything. So it's like seeing how people respond to that. They can like, maybe both of you are just angry and want to complain. Okay, that's fine. But like for me, like if you can't take that and flow, like I can't. What's your biggest ick? And it can be about each other, is like living together and stuff, or it could be, just like in general about people.
I don't have icks for Jaime.
Oh, he's perfect.
For each of us?
It can be if you want. Or just like society in general. You see someone
well,
like,
for me, I would say my biggest ick are people that you can tell want attention and are seeking attention. And for me, it's like, you don't always need to be the loudest person in the room. Like there's something so powerful about someone that, and there's no offense to anyone that has.
He said he's staring me right in the eye. He's like, no, you don't always need to be the loud. And I'm like,
Sid, you don't demand attention. That's different. You don't demand attention. You just have like a naturally loud voice, which that doesn't bug me at all. But it's the people that have that voice but also want attention. That's where I'm like, I'm
we can tell they're putting on a show, essentially. Like they're not just being themselves.
Exactly.
I get that.
Yeah. That would be my biggest thing.
Yeah.
And cheaters. I can't do cheaters.
I think you and Cheers, and I was like, what? I was like, damn. I was like,
no. If I know
end of the last episode with Cheers. You said, wait, this is like such a side question, but do you believe that like once a cheater, always a cheater? Or do you think people can change?
I think people can change. It just depends, like, I don't know. Depends on the situation, I guess. But yeah, people can change. Yeah, there's always room for change. 100%.
I feel like I just have too much like anxiety that like if it ever happened to me once, I could never like that person. Anytime they were like, I'm going out, I'd be like, So I feel like that would be a me thing. Like they could probably change, but my anxiety could never.
The ultimate betrayal.
Yeah. All right, you're ick though. Don't get out of. You're not getting out of this just because the ADHD took me on a side combo.
I think like when I was dating, we're all from California, but for some reason, I can't see a guy in flip-flops. I hate that shit. I don't want to see your toes. That's nasty.
She actually just saw a picture of my toes on my camera roll.
Why do you say a picture of your toes on your camera roll? That's the real. Are you selling feet pics?
That's what I initially thought it was.
Hey, we gotta pay the mortgage
said,
somehow.
No, it's for the guys group chat. And I said, I have more questions.
That guys group chats, like yes, girls, like we like all are like hee. Guys, like in locker rooms and group chats, I'm like, y'all are so weirdly close, and the things you share, it's like people are always like, oh yeah, girl friendships are like, we're all really close, and no problems like changing in front of each other, all that stuff. And I'm like, no, but there's nothing like a man's locker room or group chat.
There are no rules in our group chat.
It's insane that like the fact you were sharing feet pics, like that's weird. That's why.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't ask like the important questions. Like
all.
Our friend, his cousin like announced that he's going to be a father. And I said, oh, what's the sex of the baby? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't ask. And I'm like, why didn't you think to ask?
If he wanted us to know, he would have told us. That's how I see things.
It's just like when men like and their girlfriends or whatever break up and they tell their guy friends and no one asks why. And
no, literally guy friends will be like, oh, what does he do? Something for the city. And you're like,
Some for the city.
okay, well, like, is he seeing anyone? How are their parents doing?
Exactly.
Think okay. And you're like, what do you talk about? Like, what do you talk about? And then you hear feet pic. Like, why?
Sports.
Yeah,
Feet pics. Like, it's the most random shit. And you're just like, but you don't know where he lives now? Like, it's so weird. And you're like, he moved 8 months ago. Oh, did he? And yeah, my dad's the same way.
Yeah.
Without my mom, I'm like,
understand.
this man wouldn't even know what year it is. Like, my dad once got our internet and cable shut off. Somehow, the account got changed to his email. They had sent like 10 email warnings, right? He's like, I don't know. I just thought they were spam. I said, you thought we've had DirecTV for what, 30 years? The thing saying like, pay your bill now, whatever. I'm like, you didn't even think, hey, maybe this is relevant. Like, are you serious? But then my dad will be like, oh, you know who won the Heisman in 1984? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
those are important facts.
why is that in your head? But like,
But
you
not
can't.
paying your own bill.
Yeah, it's like, it's just, men are just baffling. Okay, so now describe each other in one word.
You want me to go first or you?
Me. Thoughtful.
Oh,
Yeah.
Patient.
I see both of those. Yeah.
She's the most patient person I know. I know I'm particular in certain areas, and there's certain things that I like done a certain way, and I thrive on routines. And she's always very, very patient with me, even if it doesn't make sense. She tries to understand it, and that's all I ask is like someone that just tries to understand it. Like, she's perfect at that. Yeah.
Yeah. He is super selfless and does little things every single day that before I like wouldn't think of having someone else do for me. And
Yeah.
then when you experience it, you're like, oh wow. He really thinks about me in every step of his day. And he has a routine. He's really
God, this made me
good.
feel worse about being single. I'm like, fuck.
No.
Like, what does Dolly do for me? All I have to do is live for her.
She's like, you can feed me, you can clean
Yeah.
up my shit. You're welcome.
But no, I do. Honestly, I was thinking about it though. Like, I know obviously you're like, you always are so just like calm. I feel like in everything. But even like when I was having like an anxiety attack, or I was about to have an anxiety attack in the one airport in the Philippines.
Oh, I remember.
Where I just remember I could feel it starting to creep up in my chest, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, you guys." But, like, I had to put on my
Yeah.
headphones, listen to like classical music, and just like because it was so hot in there, it was crowded. I forget who was with us. I was like panicking about he was gonna have to check his bag, he didn't have the cash, and the ATM wasn't working,
Yeah.
and all of it was just like getting to me. And like afterwards, you were just like, once I calmed down, you were like, "So like, how do you know that's coming on? Like, and does classical music always work for you? Like, is there other?" You were like very curious about it, but it
Oh,
wasn't.
I asked you that, right?
Yeah, yeah. As I was saying, it wasn't in like a like, you know, how people are like, just don't worry. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. I'm cured. You know, like that's not how anxiety works.
Yeah.
You know, like you like had like a really thoughtful and like response to like how you could help in the future, but also like how I learned how to like kind of calm that. And like not that I get them that often, but I do sometimes just get like overstimulated, you know, or I'm like, oh, I need to take a step, you know. And that was one of the cases. But I just remember that. I was like, damn, like even like where some people would have been like, because it was stressful for all of us.
Yeah.
Like some people would have been like,
That airport was probably the size of this room.
No,
Like, it was
it
like
was-
50 people in there.
and they're like, you have to check your bag, and we have no ATM. Figure it out. And everyone's like,
dude.
wait, what?
Not
Yeah.
the best airport.
No,
A lot
for
of the
sure.
Philippines, yeah.
Yeah.
Places you're like, missed your boat.
And
Sorry.
like every remember there was like 5 gates and every gate was leaving within like 5 minutes
Yeah,
of each
it-
other. And we were like, who planned this?
Insane.
But it was I just remember thinking that like, wow, that was like really kind. Like he was curious, but like in a not like judgmental way, but also like this was stressful for all of us, but he just like took a step away from himself and like, yeah, I was like, oh, I was like, yeah.
I think a big part also is like knowing how to read the room.
Yeah.
And for me, like I've always been like very observant. Is that a word?
Observant.
Observant?
Excuse me. Of
What did
people.
you say?
Observant.
Observant.
I realized wait, the other day I've been saying like describing like you know like the Hunger Games. I'm like, oh, it's like a dystopic novel. Dystopic. I've been saying that
Nice.
word so much. I just tried to put it in Wordle the other day or something. Where was I trying to put it? And it was like
that's
no,
more
it
than
should be
5 letters.
Yeah.
it was well, yeah, it wasn't Wordle then. I'm like, where was I trying to put it? And it was like, this is not. It's dystopian. Like that's how you're supposed to like. It's a
Sometimes
dope.
you gotta
Like,
make up your own words. you
I
know?
have been saying this for so long that I was
Well,
like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
I just worked on a project and the lead actress had to say gigantic, and she kept saying gigantic.
Nice.
And we were all telling her, like, each take we had to redo because she kept saying gigantic.
At that point, change the script, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, am I saying it right? And then finally she was like, literally my whole life I've said gigantic. I didn't know it was gigantic.
Well, and then,
I was like, no.
But my roommate, who's, she's from Korea, so English is not her first language. I walked in once and I'm like, what are you watching? And she goes, oh, this new show. It's called Adolescence. And I was like, Adolescence? I'm like, what's that about? She starts describing it and she pauses it so it pops up, right? And I'm like, adolescence? But now it took me a second to even think about the right word because we all started saying in this house adolescence as a joke. And now I'm like,
now you have to think twice. I mean,
literally,
gigantic.
I'm like, it's like when you start writing the same thing over and you're like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Well, I know we're like getting off topic. So I guess we could just get to, the main chunk of it all. So today, because they are successfully out of the trenches of dating and everything is always clear, 2020 in hindsight, we're going to rewind for them and kind of talk about their history, how they knew, each other was the right one, stuff like that. And also, give me advice based on like what they now see clearly while I'm still in it. So we're going to start with how you two met.
I'll take this one.
All right.
I was on my first TV show. I was an art PA. And Jaime was a set PA on the same show. And they ended up shooting in our offices halfway through the season. So Jaime and I saw each other from across the room and obviously thought each other was cute. And he came up to me and introduced himself. And from then on, he was basically my set crush. And we would just talk at work and like find each other cute. And at the time I had a boyfriend, so nothing really came of it. And at some point, I think Jaime told me that he was kind of developing the feelings and like wanted to.
Oh, those feelings were already developed.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
You played it cool.
Oh, yeah.
But he was the most direct person, I think, about it. And that kind of scared me, especially because I had a boyfriend and I wasn't trying to mess with that. So that's when I think everything kind of stopped and fizzled out. And it was at the end of our show. And after you're done with the show, there's no really excuse to see these people unless you're working on another show together. Like after that show, he blocked me because I think he was sad
hurt.
about
I was hurt.
it. Mm-hmm.
I'll admit it. I was very hurt.
Yeah. He didn't block me. He just unfollowed me.
Yeah.
Wait, that's proof that you went looking.
No, I actually didn't. Wait, did I know? I don't think I knew.
Oh, you didn't know in the time. Like it wasn't until, okay.
Until fast forward like 4 years later and then I became single again.
How many?
4. Like I was in that relationship for 6 years. It was 6 years.
Oh, we played the long game for sure.
No, I knew that like you were basically like infatuated, but like I didn't realize. I thought it was like 3 months.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and like he planted a lot of seeds in my head, and I was very confused. And I was like, "How can I be feeling like this for someone else? Like I don't want to go there." So I just kind of shut it down, and was in that relationship for 4 more years, even though I shouldn't have been. And then when I was single again, I realized I had been following him the whole time, and I still thought about him from time to time. So I decided to unfollow him and follow him again.
Yes.
So like pop up on his feed, and it worked because he followed me back. And then a few like weeks later, he posted a story. I responded to it. He was like, "Let's get drinks tonight," and that was our first actual date that we count.
Why?
And my first question on our first date was, "You're not in a relationship, right?" She said, no. Okay, good. Now we can move forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, I guess like when you first met and you knew she had a boyfriend, but you obviously had feelings, like were you like in your head being like, "Oh, she's gonna dump him for me," or were you?
100%.
Okay.
In my head, I had made up this world where she was gonna realize that I was the better option.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. But I think the way our like story went, that's what needed to happen. She needed time to get through the relationship she was going through and kind of figure out her things. And then I just needed time to like be single and just not always be in a relationship.
So you were in a relationship right before this then?
Yes, I was.
Which we can get into that, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the timing just like it was like right person, wrong timing, as they always say.
Yeah. Well, I always
Yeah.
say she came into my life when I least expected it, but when I needed it the most. Because I wasn't expecting to get in any kind of serious relationship. It was also during the pandemic, so it was a weird time for dating. You know, it's like when you see each other, it's like you can't really go out to a bar and like
everything was closed.
you're either seeing them in your apartment or your room or I don't know, or in a park or something like that. So the dating world was a little weird at the time, but I think it worked out. Yeah, it just,
I feel like we were both single for the same amount of time before we reconnected.
Yeah.
And we had been single obviously during the pandemic, which somehow I was meeting people and all my friends were like, where are you meeting these guys? Like,
for real?
Everyone's holed up.
What?
And I'm like,
I didn't leave the house for like 5 months. I was so scared. There's a video where our friends came around and iced people. I came out in a mask and gloves. I don't even know where I got these gloves. They were like pink and frilly. And I had to chug an ice. Oh. But okay, so like over the course of those 5 years, were you like, I know you had followed her, so it was like out of sight, out of mind probably, but did she like keep popping up? Or you were like, this maybe is meant to be?
And that's why I did it. That's why I did it to, like you said, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get reminded of that part of my life because I like I told you, like I was a little hurt that she didn't choose me, but at the same time, like if you really look back at it, like we had only been like flirting with each other or whatever for like 2-3 months. So in what world was she gonna choose me over a relationship she's been in for, I don't know, how long were you in a relationship for?
2 years at that point.
Yeah.
So I was upset, but that kind of helped me move forward in a sense and kind of get to know myself. And then eventually when she came back and we reconnected, it was perfect.
Yeah. Do you say you would have broken up right then and picked Jaime? Do you think it would have worked out as well as it has now?
I don't think so.
It would have been tougher for sure.
I think I had to experience a lot of things before I got into my final relationship. And luckily I got to do all that. But with Jaime, it's super intentional and safe and mature. And I don't feel like it would have been the same back then.
I agree. I can't really tell you where I was in my life around that time, but I know I was like single and, saying single, ready to mingle. So I was going out and, a lot of my friends were single too. So it was like that perfect time where the boys were going out. We'd hit the West Side every weekend, 2-3 times a weekend, if that. So, I think if we would have gotten into a relationship after the show and whatnot, we would have had more challenges to deal with 100%.
Yeah.
Not that we don't have challenges now, but they're just different.
Yeah, I just always wonder, like, in those cases, right, where it's like, oh, they were into someone else, but they chose me. It's like, I feel like that person might, like, if they haven't given themselves time to really decide, like, what they want, they'll have those, like, oh, well, did I, like, all those thoughts. So I feel like, I don't know, obviously, I get all my knowledge from my friends in rom-com, so not a great source as far as the rom-com side, but yeah, that's okay. So you guys like have already alluded to previous relationships, going back all the way in your dating history, and you think back to those people. How did you know like each other was, like you said, the final, like this was it, versus like what happened in previous ones? Because you were like in a long-term relationship.
Yeah, I was in a relationship for 6 years before this one, which we haven't even made 6 years.
He's like, what? This is how I find out.
There were like certain behaviors and inconsistencies and letdowns that I realized I didn't want to put up with for the rest of my life. Yeah. And like, I think we skipped the word for myself. And like my description of the word for myself, I feel like empathetic is like maybe not quite the right word because I'm not very emotional. Yeah. But I find it easy to put myself in other people's shoes. And when other people are either like upset with me or we're in some sort of a fight, I see their intentions super easily, and sometimes to a point of error. I had my boundaries crossed time and time again in my last long-term relationship, and it took me a while to build up the strength to like know what my boundaries were and be able to assert myself, because I would let people walk over me all the time. And with Jaime, it just felt like safe. I would leave hanging out with him feeling calm and like myself and not anxious, and there was nothing to question. Like, I feel like dating these days, there's a lot of anxiety interwoven in obsession and infatuation, and that's really just like a nervous system response to like either familiarity or uncertainty. And there was no uncertainty, and in that way there wasn't like the feedback loop of like, does he like me, or like, is he gonna text me back? There wasn't that. It was always consistent and safe, and like that's when I knew that it was healthy, and that's what I needed.
Yeah. And I know like we've talked about this before, but I think it's so easy, especially like now where we want like quick dopamine with our like, you know, our very, very short into, what is it, the attention span? Where I know I get trapped in these situationships where it's like, these are not good partners. And it's like, I know that, but it's the like the thrill or the like the, I don't know if it's a dopamine rush or whatever, where it's like, oh, they texted me, oh my God, finally, you know, whatever, respond. And it's like, I never know what I'm gonna get today. Are they gonna be responsive or are they gonna ignore me? You know, and it's like, it's the logical part of my brain is like, this is a horrific partner. There's no future with this person. Please stop texting them. But there's part of me that like loves the thrill of it. And I think it's like, and then when you do find someone that's like that, where they're like, it's more like this, because they're telling you exactly like, I'm into you. I like you. I'm always gonna text you. And I think like some people, myself included, are like, I just don't know. I don't know if the fire's there, you know? And it's like, I seek that that like thrill of unhealthy relationships. So it's like, it's good to hear you saying that like, maybe if I'm immediately like, I don't know, I like him, but you know, he's like, give that a chance, because my brain immediately is like, I don't know, he's saying a lot up front. That's kind of scary, you know, but like that's really in reality what I should be going.
Yeah, there can still be chemistry and sparks without chaos, and the chaos is where like the dopamine hits are in, because you don't get dopamine just from the text from some guy. You get the dopamine from the anticipation of that text, or what if he doesn't text, and then the reward. So like the dopamine is all in the chase and the unavailability and like the uncertainty of it. But when you take that out, like what you have is reliability, and like you still have chemistry. Don't get me wrong, like we were still very excited to make plans and talk to each other. Like if it's, you can be calm, like have a calm relationship and still be interested. Like if it's boring, then I know immediately and I check out. But if it's calm, then I'm showing up to that and I'm like paying attention. And that's, I think, the difference. Like it doesn't, I do get it though. Like if you're dating someone, you're like, this guy's boring. There is a difference.
Okay, wait, but earlier you said Jaime was direct. How were you direct? Were you just straight up like,
I just know what I want.
you.
Well, that too.
Well, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, I told her that I loved her like within 6 months of us dating.
I think
it was at your house,
3
actually.
or 4 months.
Yeah.
Hey, I good luck
July
for people.
July 4th.
I mean, I'm happy for you guys, but like not set up, but like I brought Jordan and Maddie back together. Brooke and Nick got together at one of my parties. You're saying I love you. Where is this for me?
It was the first time I met you guys, actually. It was like a July 4th party. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was not sober, but that didn't stop me. Because I woke up the next morning, I'm like, I know what I did, but I don't regret it.
You were just
it was going to happen regardless. So in that sense, I'm really direct, because I know what I want, and when I know I want something, I go after it. You know, when I first saw her, on set, it wasn't like a, oh my god, that's the love of my life kind of thing, but I knew that's the kind of woman that I wanted to be with.
Yeah.
Which is why I approached her and introduced myself. And then when I started getting to know her more, I was like, okay, like this is it, you know?
Okay, so obviously we all know I can be a little much as far as people have said. I keep zero mystery alive, essentially. How do I balance being direct and being like, I'm into you without coming on like so strong it scares them? Yeah. Or I reveal too much, you know? Because I feel like I don't know that boundary. Because it's like I'm trying to show I'm into you, but I either revert to being like a kindergartner and flirting, like being mean, or I just like yap.
I feel like the answer to that is to build a foundation of trust with someone, like meeting someone for the first time and stating your intentions like immediately can maybe be too confrontational, but like getting to know the person over the course of, I don't know, whether you're at a bar and it's just a few hours or whatever.
Yeah.
I immediately wanted to flirt and get to know her, but I think this could be what you're trying to say in a sense. It depends on your objective when you're dating, right? If you're dating just to get, excuse my language, a lay, then you don't have.
When you said excuse my language, I thought you were going to say so much worse. A lay is like the most gentle way of saying it. Are you like? I thought you were going to be like, get fucked up. You're like, I thought it would be so much worse.
Yeah, if you're into that, if you're dating just to like get a lay, then you don't have to be as direct as you want. You can be as mysterious as you want. You know what you want. You know what you're getting into, and you're out. Now, if you're really looking for something serious, then you kind of, in my opinion, you throw things out there, see if the guy bites, and then you move from there. You move
okay,
from
like
there.
What though? Like I don't. That's the thing about me is like I feel like that's why the whole podcast is like I don't know how to like quote unquote play the game, right? Like I don't know how to be different depending on like what I want.
So
like
you love
when
sports.
You said like throw it out there, and I'm like I don't even know what to throw out. Like,
so you love sports, right? Yes. Specifically soccer, the U.S. From what I know, the men's national team, right? Start talking about that. Like the World Cup is next year. See if I do, and then men are like, then you know too much. Yeah, so that's sports. A trial, right? That's a test. If this guy is like not interested in the sports that you like, maybe that's not the right guy. Maybe that's just a lay, you know?
Have you ever tried like really actively, I'm not saying that you talk too much, but
I do, it's fine.
But have you ever tried like active listening? Like like asking them questions, yes, letting them talk, and then not responding right away so there's that pregnant pause so they keep talking.
Pregnant pause?
I've never heard that.
I've never heard that.
You've never heard it? It's like it's like a pause that's a little longer than comfortable, and then they just keep talking.
A pregnant pause.
I've never heard that.
Plot twist. I'm pregnant.
Oh God, we're revealing it now. But no, okay, wait.
Opportunity.
That is something I want to try, right? I want to go to bars and try like lessons in rom-coms. So like in a John Tucker Must Die. They're like, wait 3 seconds before you respond to anything he says. I'm like, and Alonzo once told me, he was like, you should try. He's like, they tried it with one of their like weirder guy friends. I'll say weird. I'm weird too. Like that's not offensive. I'm like, they basically told him to only respond to women saying yes or no the whole night.
Oh, I hate that.
And tell me why he went home with a girl. They said that was the first time he went home with a girl in forever. Alonzo was like, you need to try that. Just like you have a limit of like 10 words you can respond and you have to pause and everything. He's like, I guarantee you'll get a guy. And I'm like, but then they're going to wake up and I'm going to be like, good morning. And they're going to like call the cops on me. But yeah, I will say, yeah, definitely the listen.
Yeah.
Try the 40-year-old virgin scene with Steve Carell and Elizabeth Banks. Where he goes in there, he just asks her questions. He never any questions about him. It's always questions about her. And then he walks away and she's like crazy over it.
I'm serious.
This is what I'm saying. I want to do this. Go on a bar crawl. Every bar use a different rule.
Do you like to do it yourself?
People love talking about themselves, and
I know,
and when you hit a sweet spot, like you can see it in someone's eyes.
Yeah,
whether they're talking about like one of their hobbies or like some people
their eyes like light
passionate
up.
about what they were. Ask about that. The more they talk about themselves, and they say that about job interviews too, like trying to get the other party to talk, like they'll think in their head, oh, that went so well because they got to talk.
Pregnant pauses are also really beneficial job interviews. So I'm like, maybe these are just life skills in general.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, we need to go to a bar crawl. At every bar, you guys give me a different rule. Because I just watched The Ugly Truth, too, and he had, like, a few in there. And I was like, these would be so funny to try out in person.
You
and
should
then, like,
do that.
Recap.
Wait, we need to... I wish we could be there, though, and just, like, a fly on the wall, watch it all happen.
Bree and Tori are already trying to, like, go with me on dates at this point. So we can all just... It'll be a bar crawl, and you guys can just witness from afar.
Just as long as I can be in bed by 10. That's my.
Oh my god!
Okay. Well, how about we'll have to hit up happy hours instead because Grandpa
where you're gonna meet people.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, this is my 75-year-old husband. I've been at the Chili's happy hour. Like, come on. So I guess now looking back in hindsight, your previous, we'll say quote unquote relationships or pseudo relationships. Like I don't really know. Like I know obviously you're one relationship, but like. Were you typically in relationships or was it like situationships that kind of like...
I had previous relationships before Rachel, and there's that span where I was single, but I think after each relationship, I learned something about myself, and that made me the man I am today. One relationship, she did not enjoy spending time with my family, and that was a big one because every time a family event would come up, it was a big deal. It was stressful. It was like, I don't, and she'd find ways to get out of it. Yeah, that was a no-go for me. Yeah, because my family is a big deal for me. And a big deal for her.
Yeah, I was going to say, we touched on this way earlier. So I've been noticing just, I don't know if it's like from TikTok or just talking to my friends who have like mother-in-laws, you know, whatever, like mother-in-laws who they're just kind of like, I love them, but I think that's kind of like seeped in my brain where I'm swiping. And where if like people have a picture with just their mom or whatever, I'm like, oh god,
no, that's
like
great.
A mama's boy, but that's the thing. Mama's boys now, like it's like the boy mom thing. I feel like it's gone into my head, and I'm like,
I'm a mama's boy.
I feel like you can't ever judge that until you meet the family and see the dynamic yourself. Like that's the one bad thing about dating profiles. Like there's you get a certain amount of pictures to present, and someone will create a whole story about you in their head about these pictures.
And then you meet them and you're like, oh.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah. And sometimes it's good, right? Where you're like, oh, I thought you were going to be kind of like weird and nerdy, but you're really cool, you know? Or it could be like, I thought you were going to be perfect. And I've said this whole thing in my head, you know?
Yeah.
Like I said, rom-com Delulu over here. And then I'm like, oh no. No. And that's why I don't think like dating apps are for me. Because like I really do try. Everyone's always talking shit. They're like, you need to be on the apps or you, and I'm like, I do try, but it's just like I feel like I meet people in person, right, where I like immediately have like, the rapport with them, and I can feel the vibes that like if I were to see them on an app, I don't think I would have swiped right on. I'm all about the vibes. Like I really don't have it. People are always like, what's your type? And I'm like, I really don't have a specific type. Like if you look at everyone I've been into,
and that's honestly, okay.
There's not really a common like where I could be like, yeah, that's the one. But I feel like as far as dating apps or going out, like you wish you would have done one more, wish women more bold in certain like circumstances, like more direct. Because I just say this, so like I fall into, first of all, my type is geographically. Oh my god, I can't say
geographically?
Yeah, wow. My brain just went geographically unavailable is my type. Because like, I travel and then I meet these men and I'm like, and they live
in other countries,
the world. But we continue the like texting and all that, right? And then I'm like, my Delulu is like, oh my god, I'm gonna, but then they become these like weird situationships. So I guess like do situationships, like you said, you went in with a clear mind, where you're like, this is not going anywhere. Do you think like it is possible for those to become something more, or is it usually like what you start? Your intention going in is usually how like you stay. Sorry, I asked a lot of questions.
No, it can change, but
it
I think heavily depends on how the other person shows up to and
I know me, and I know I can change, but I'm saying I'm more concerned with the other person.
Yeah. Well, it depends if you talk about it or not. I don't think like it's going anywhere unless they put in the effort to make it like a daily thing or talk about your future. I think that's a big, obviously, sign. If someone is talking about your future together,
or like even plans, like
then
the
you
wedding,
can picture
like
it. Yeah, then you can picture it, and then it's not necessarily a situationship. There's some clarity.
Yeah. So do you think like definitely should have, or you always should like define like the intention pretty soon?
I think as
early
soon
in?
as you know,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
want it to go this way or that way,
Yeah.
you should say something. Especially if you've had like a few dates or you know each other pretty well,
Yeah.
you should be able to communicate that, because you're only gonna either break someone's heart or get your heart broken. Like
I just show that side of. I don't feel like I'm a heartbreaker. Okay. So I guess to close it all out, like I was saying, I kind of blended like 3 questions in one previously. Looking back, like what are your biggest like lessons and advice for me still in the trenches?
Let me think.
I think for you, just be honest with yourself. Don't change who you are for somebody else. Just be true to yourself. Be honest. At some point, someone is going to take you for who you are, and because the worst thing is to be in a relationship where you constantly have to have a filter over yourself and you can't be yourself. If you're Sid, the loud person that loves soccer, and that's who you should be, and don't be apologetic about it. Just be yourself. There's a man out there that will love all of that.
Yeah.
It's just patience.
On
Just
that
big
note,
patience.
take note of how you feel after you spend time with someone.
Yes.
Do you feel drained because you were trying to like
Put on
a show
Yeah.
or like restrain yourself, or do you feel calm because you were fully yourself? Like take note of how you feel after, because you could be full of anxiety, and that's again part of like the nervous system response, or you can be like, oh, that was easy to just show up, because the things that we love about you, Sid, like may not be someone's cup of tea, but again, they're like what makes you who you are and why we love you.
Yeah.
So like you can't lose sight of that.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Take on the active listener
Yeah, definitely
role,
gonna listen more. I know that.
and that alone, like I feel like you can still show up as yourself without talking about yourself more than half the time. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not to say like be quiet the whole time. Like you should definitely share things about you too.
They're gonna be like, did you take a vow of silence recently? Are you protesting something?
But yeah, I think like
I don't think I could be silent even if I tried.
No,
Even
and you
if I
shouldn't.
tried, I
you
think I'd
shouldn't.
be
Yeah,
like,
you shouldn't.
again,
must.
like that's what we love about you, and you keep the energy going, and you can still do that by like prying into someone else's passions and life and stuff.
So yeah, I definitely need to work on that and like being more calm, and also like you said, like not chasing the unhealthy highs and lows
roller
in a way,
coasters.
because I feel like my brain does like that, which I'm like,
And if you have your boundaries, don't let people cross them.
yeah,
I feel like you're good at that.
Yeah.
think, and then it comes to men, and I'm like,
Because that
walk all over me and do what you want. Like I'm good, yes. Like it's so weird. I am such a good. I feel like a different person comes to men. I'm just
That's
like,
wild.
But when you call people out on their shit and you're like, hey, what you said or what you did there, like I didn't like that.
Yeah.
People like react to that and they respect you more for it. You know.
Okay. Well, other than the fact that you waiting like 5 years, which gives me like Delulu hope for some of my situationships. This is all amazing. I feel like very healthy relationship advice from actually a successful couple out of the trenches. But thanks for coming on.
Thanks for
I'm
having us.
excited. And
I can cheers.
I have nothing to
Cheers.
Not me having droplets.